Hello, hello. Hi, ladies. Welcome to Brie's general Q&A call. If you guys have not joined us yet, my name is Jenny. You'll get to be coached today by Brie. And some of you ladies are already filing in, but if you haven't been on the call yet, you go ahead and let us know in the chat that you have a question and you want to be coached. We work down the list, first come, first serve. We are going to ask that if you've been coached on a group coaching call in the last 3 days, that you hold off on putting yourself in line today, creating lots of space for a variety of women to jump in, giving you plenty of time to digest on the goodness that you were able to receive. Otherwise, we're so glad that you guys are here. Just want to invite you into an open heart posture. There's going to be some things that you can reach out to today and grab onto and apply to your individual process. So thanks for being with us. And Brie, why don't you take it away?
Awesome. Thank you, Jenny. So great to see you guys here today. It's so fun to see your faces. I understand maybe not everybody's able to have their camera on, but you guys, it is so sweet to see you. So yeah, just know that I am seeing you. I'm looking at your faces and it's great. Like Jenny said, my name's Brie. I'm really excited to do some general Q&A coaching with you guys today. I want to lead us in just a couple minutes of getting quiet on the inside. I know we're all probably coming from doing different things, so just going to take a moment to pause. So if you'd like to go ahead and close your eyes, you can. You don't have to do this, by the way. This is just if it's helpful for you. So go ahead and close your eyes and just take 3 deep breaths. If you need to stretch or move around or be like, oh yeah, the way I'm sitting is actually not comfortable, feel free to shift that around. Yeah. And if it's helpful to put your hand on your heart, you can do that. And I just want to invite you to bring a lot of tenderness into that touch if you're choosing to put your hand on your heart. Just communicating to your body that you are worth taking care of. You're worth being with. You're worth time. You're worth getting to know. And there's 2 questions specifically that I just want to put before you today. The first one being, where is your little girl? Where is the little girl inside of you? What is she doing? What state is she in? Just pay attention to first impressions, whatever pops up for you. And I just want to invite you to acknowledge it without judging it. If she's having a rough day, that's okay. If she feels really content, that's okay too. If you feel like you're not necessarily connecting to a younger age of you, that's okay. And if you are able to connect with her, I just want you to see yourself seated beside her, not fixing her or telling her what to do, just being with her. And as you sit there with her, I'd love for your heart to ask God what He has for you today in this call. And I'd love for you to ask Him as if you were about to receive a gift. If there's any wonder, if there's any excitement, just ask you to focus on that. What do you have for me today, God? And just take a moment to see yourself pulling your little girl close to you and whispering to her what God has for you guys today. Yeah. Just kind of take a snapshot of that visual, of that scene, of grown up you and little you just connecting and being expectant of good things from God today. And when you're ready, go ahead and take another really deep, refreshing breath. Yeah. When you're ready, you can go ahead and open your eyes. All right. So fun. Danara, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Love that. Love that. Love that. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into the coaching. So, Kristen, I'd love to hear how you are.
Hi. Hi, Brie.
Hello. Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. How are you today?
Yeah, good. My little girl was hiding.
Yeah.
I just got to sit there with her and just, yeah, it was really good. I wanted to come on this call today because you and I have walked through a couple of things when it comes to my fear of nighttime and sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
I know that you and I have walked through an encounter maybe multiple times or at least one time. And I wanted to share a breakthrough, but also to ask a follow-up question, if that's okay.
Cool. That sounds good.
The last, I want to say the last, well, I'll give some background. I have a lot of fear when it comes to sleeping alone and a lot of anxiety of closed spaces, darkness, everything that has to do with being in a house by myself or in a room by myself when it's nighttime. That comes from trauma from childhood. But I wanted to share something that happened over the weekend because my brother, we all live in the same house now because of COVID, and it's just crazy. He is up late in the evenings. So, and I have to go to work very early, so I need to sleep. And our staircase coming up to our rooms is very loud. Anyways, so he told me, "Can you please close your door? Because you have your door open, just a little bit open." And he's like, "I need to get to my bed without you waking up. Can you please close the door?" And he's been saying that for weeks. And I've said, "I just can't because then my anxiety kicks in. I can't sleep. It's just the whole thing." Um, but then I was like, I keep getting interrupted by him. So I'm going to close the door, keep a night light on. And if I get scared, I'll just open the door. But at least I'm going to close it and try.
Mm-hmm.
And now for the last couple of days, I've had my door closed the whole night, which is huge for me.
Yeah.
Huge. And I feel very proud. I haven't forced it.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not a thing where I'm like, I sit there with my anxiety. You know, it's actually been like a natural progression for many years. Um, Last night I did wake up with a little bit of anxiety, but I just put the lights on and I just, calmed myself down and then it was okay again.
Wow. 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 Wow.
So I wanted to share that with you because I know we walked through that journey.
I'm so glad to hear that. And I loved even like when it happened last night, you're like, okay, but I know how to support myself in this. Like that's a win.
Yeah, it's huge. It's
Yep.
huge. Um, and I even told my family, and I think they were a little bit like, "Oh yeah, Kristen, you sleep with your closed door." That's.
Sure.
But I was even like, I don't really care
Yeah.
because it's huge for me, and that matters.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
so the thing, like, I always want to go further, right? And I know I could tell that if I would have to like have a bad dream or is this something that would trigger me, like a sound or something, I know I would be right into that place again. I was just very lucky with like, didn't have a nightmare. I slept through the night. Like I was very lucky. But I'm gonna celebrate it. But I still want to kind of explore or get your thoughts on how to keep working through this and how, if I get into a very triggered state, is opening the door to solution or is actually calming my heart and finding that trigger, even though it's the middle of the night, is that the way to go? Because I don't want to force it. And last time I did an encounter, I could literally see, this is going to sound weird. I could literally see me and the Holy Spirit, God, and Jesus in these like weird characters from a animation movie. And God was this is gonna sound weird. He was like this big character, and he's like, I'm ready to go in and fight whenever you are. And it was kind of awesome. And I just let it go. I was like, fine, that sounds weird, but I'm just gonna go with it.
Yeah.
But I found that I was like, but you're just small to me, God.
Mm.
That's a belief system that I have, that he's not gonna actually pull through for me in the middle of the night, because that's how big the fear and how scared I get.
Yeah.
So I look at him as small compared to what I'm going through. And that's not helping me in the moment, because then I feel very alone, because this huge evil thing is there and God is little. So I don't know how I can turn that around and
Mhm.
also keep pushing myself. My goal is like to I love going outside, so I would love to like go in a tent by myself somewhere. That
Mm.
would be like my dream. I'm not even close, but that's like a goal for me. But I don't want to push it either.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see if you have any thoughts.
Yeah, this is so rich. I love that you brought this here today, and that it's also been process for you, that yeah, you're experiencing some fruit from a few months of different things, right? Different things that you've thought about and felt through and approached in your life. So yeah, it's just a really good story that is not done yet, which I love. So so there's the part where you want to keep going after just complete peace, no matter what's going on, what time of day, what the situation is. And if you could go camp in a tent by yourself, that would be really liberating. Yeah, I love that. Um, there's a really unique piece of this that's standing out to me the most. And that is that you kind of have let this unfold. And even last night, when anxiety did come, you didn't make it mean that you had done anything wrong. You made it mean, oh, yeah, I recognize anxiety. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn the lights. I'm going to sit with myself. I'm going to remember that I can calm down right here. And that's really what I want to highlight, because I hear your respect of me, that you are wanting my thoughts, but I'm like, hang on, there's something really powerful happening inside of you in the being with part, rather than the apprehending what could get really bad on down the road, like tonight, tomorrow night, and I got to know what I should do then. There's something really powerful about you choosing to be with yourself in that moment. That's where I kind of think the magic is. um what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Um, that's definitely a huge point, because I know for a fact that that would spiral into many hours of anxiety and even self hatred of like, oh, here we are again, you know. And I'm
Mhm.
not completely out of that, because when I get like, when my mom says, oh my God, yeah, Kristen slept with the door closed, I'm like, oh, is
Yeah.
it not a big victory? But then I kind of know her, and I know the way she acts, and I know she doesn't mean it. But, and I don't even need to seek validation, and I'm working on that. But just the fact that that I am enough to be enough for myself and my heart, that's huge, because that's the one thing I'm trying to work with right now. Like, I even wrote a list, like I had a one-on-one with Taylor this morning, and I wrote a list about what I approve.
Mm.
And it's literally saying, I approve, let's see, I approve of me validating myself. I approve of my own self love and value. Like, that's a huge thing that I'm working on. And if I can be in that trigger place of, it's nighttime, it's dark in here, the door is closed, I'm alone.
Mhm.
If I can sit through that and be, I don't need anyone else, if that makes sense. That's huge.
That is huge. Yeah.
And that's what I want to work on because I can tell that I'm still on the cusp. I'm not there yet.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So when you say that's what I want to work on, what do you envision the work actually being?
Um, what it has looked like for me is validating myself and changing my own negative thoughts that I've been having, actually realizing that it's my brain trying to protect me.
Mm.
Because I always thought that it was me just being not a good person and there was something wrong with me to have all these negative thoughts.
Mhm.
But I'm now curious and understand that it's actually I'm protecting my brain is protecting me. So that's kind of a big thing. So I guess what I would love is to not to fix myself, but to be brave enough to go into that very vulnerable thing because I know it is and I know it's very painful. Why That's why I haven't dealt with it before.
Mm.
But then also start shifting some thoughts about me in that dark room that I'm not alone and that you are good enough to calm yourself down. You don't need anyone.
Mm.
Those are the kind of things that I would love to like memorize and like experience as in that trigger place.
Yeah. Yeah. What would it look like? And I want to know your honest emotional reaction to what I'm about to say. So just you have full freedom to let me know what honestly comes up for you. I wonder what it would look like to ask God for small practice moments.
Mm,
Like instead of having a big trigger that I'm just fearing, like it's looming out there in the future, God, can I have some practice moments? Practice moments throughout the day, practice moments at night, just little bite-sized pieces so I can walk my soul into a place of really capturing this truth.
mhm. Yeah. Obviously, that's even that triggers me, but it triggers me less than right now because now I feel like I'm waiting for that night, which I know it's coming.
Right.
I'm just gonna be freaking out, opening the door, crying, like, and I don't want that. I want to keep going in these small victories, but also a little bit of setback, but not as big as I'm going to be like before. Yeah.
How do you want to treat yourself in the setbacks?
I've become That's a good question because I'm becoming very self-aware when it comes to I didn't know this before, but I'm a perfectionist and I don't think I wanted to kind of see that, but like even in it could be anything. I'm like it needs to be the way that I've set it to be. Like I need to be in control of what's supposed to happen. And if it doesn't, lots of health self-hatred. So if I'm like, let's say, creating a night routine and it's going well, but then I don't have power on my phone and I was going to listen to a Bide app or, some meditation thing. Then my whole night is like, ruined because this one thing didn't I couldn't control. And now I lost an element that makes me like this picture perfect that I've created, this Instagram thing that I've like pictured myself.
Yeah.
Means it's not going well, and that means I'm not well. I'm not good because this is not going good.
Who can relate to this? Anybody? If you just want to throw your hand up. Anybody relate to that? Yeah. Welcome to my morning this morning. Yeah, totally. I'm seeing you guys. Yeah. Um, I love that you can put this into words that you're like, oh, it's perfectionism. And I'm seeing these little things that don't go the way I envisioned. And I make it about me. That if things don't go well, I'm not okay inside. I asked for everybody, to who related to throw up their hand just so you wouldn't feel like, oh, I'm this freak who just can't do life correctly, right? So I know that, but there's still some part of your heart that's grasping for perfectionism because you actually feel like you're the odd man out. And I don't
Mm.
want to put words in your mouth there. Let me ask you instead, does that resonate that you feel like you're the only one that's like messing something up?
Yes. And it
Yep.
also, while you were saying that, it also feels like, ah, if I could recognize that, man, I'm trying so hard. Like perfectionism is hard work. And
Mm,
when I tell my heart that not even trying was good enough, like that is so unmotivating. And I can tell my heart is like, whew, like I'm working 24/7 to keep this together and I'm not perfect and you got to give me some slack
yeah.
and you got to love me when I can't do it all,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? And that's very vulnerable for me to say because that's a lot of hurt right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I so hear you. What do you think it is that and you can take a moment to listen to Holy Spirit, but what do you think it is that heals perfectionism?
Like I can only think of one thing and um like I don't know if this is right, but I've heard like somewhere that God is perfected through our imperfect or in our weaknesses.
Mm,
Light will shine through brighter when we don't have it all together, and He loves to use that.
mm,
Um, and that's basically like in my one on one with Taylor, I was telling her that I just admire how she's just herself.
mm,
And like, there's so many people that are a good example of this. You, Brie, are a good example. You just emanate yourself. And I always want to put up this front where I'm like, no, 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 you need to sit like this and you need to be this kind of person. And God is saying, I didn't create you for that. And I guess that hurts because that's not what He's expecting of me. That's just my own expectations.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wrote it down a moment ago and you were like, perfectionism is hard work. Like I could see it. I could see that you believed that. Like,
Yeah.
oh, perfectionism is hard work. Like when you said that, I'm like, oh, it is. Like, anybody else resonate with that? Like when she said that, I wrote it down because I'm like, that is a great quote. Like Kristen Emanuelson, March 2021. Perfectionism is hard work, you guys. Like that, it so is. Um, have you gotten to dive into that specifically with where your little girl got um, the word hijacked is coming to mind. That's not the greatest word, but you know, where your little girl was like, well, if I'm just perfect, then I'll be safe. Have you been
Mm.
able to identify that, where that happened?
Yeah, like I can definitely it's the the people pleasing and the seeking validation from others, and then I could tell that people liked a certain part of me, so I locked in that kind of front, and then someone liked this part of me, so I locked that in, and then all of a sudden this person was created through all these like different pieces of what people liked, and
Totally.
then I just kept that because it worked.
Totally.
It worked to
Absolutely.
be validated from others. People thought I was awesome, which sounds weird, but that's the truth because you're putting up this front that you're always there for people. You're doing, you're just this superhuman, and then inside you're dying and you're exhausted because you just can't do it all and you fall apart and you have yourself to blame, and that's the hard part.
Right. So hear you. Yeah. So how do you want to meet yourself in this space? Because looking at you, I'm looking at you as a woman who is outgrowing perfectionism, not as a woman who's like, you really got to get this perfectionism thing figured out and dealt with. Okay.
Mhm.
I'm not seeing you as that. I'm seeing, oh my gosh, look, she's outgrowing it. So, like, how do you want to be with yourself in this space while you're outgrowing something you're like, oh, that's actually quite tiring.
Mhm. Yeah. I can think of two things. I can think of the first one being when, not if, but when that imperfection or something happens where it's not in my control or perfect like I thought it would be. Give myself grace and love in that moment because I usually go to self hatred. So that's one. The second one is going understanding the underlying things that has created this so that I can bring love and compassion in there so
Mm.
that I can move forward. Um, that's what my mind is like.
Yeah.
I don't know if that resonates.
Yeah. Would you close your eyes for a moment?
Yeah.
And I'd love for you to create a scenario in your head. This does not have to be a real memory, but I want you to create a low stakes scenario in your head where something doesn't work out well. Um, you mentioned your phone charger a moment ago, but something pretty low stakes where all of a sudden you're in that moment where you have a choice to hate yourself or to be with yourself. And just kind of describe what comes to mind.
Okay, so um, the memory is that I was at the post office and I totally forgot the address of the person I was sending something to. That meant that I was needing to go home and pick it up.
Mhm.
And that was not how I viewed that going. Um, and I completely hated myself the whole journey back and the whole journey. And it was a lot of guilt and shame. And that's not how I want to treat myself because I made an honest mistake. It
Yeah.
wasn't because I was bad. It was just I was rushing and it wasn't bad. It was just a
Yeah.
mistake.
Yeah. So I want you to go back into the post office right before you find out that you don't have your package ready to go with the address and just press pause on that scene. And in your heart space, I just want to invite you to feel love for you.
Mm.
Love that is accepting and not just accepting, but delighting in. A love that says, I'm so happy I exist. It's really good that I'm here. And then I want you to press play on that scene. And as you discover that you hadn't prepared in the way you thought you had, I want you to see yourself giving that gift of love in that moment. Just let me know what happens.
Yeah, there's like this strong connections to identity and actions.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime there's something good, that means you have worth and value, and every time doesn't go the way you hoped for, or then that it's like I see this like line, like this stronghold. So that means that you don't have worth if something goes bad. So I'm like so scared of doing something wrong because it means that I'm not worthy, and that breaks my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to make her laugh. Like I tried to say like, "Hey, so what? That's fun. You get an extra trip back home, and we can listen to music and talk, like have fun."
Mm-hmm.
And I also gave love and compassion, saying, "Hey, that's totally fine. There's a lot of things happening, and you had a lot of things on your mind. Be easier on yourself. Be kind to yourself. It's okay. I love you."
Did you notice any shift internally or in your emotions? And it's okay if the answer is no.
It definitely felt lighter. And I also felt seen in me not having it all together, which is kind of a relief. Because not a lot of people get to see that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love that. I love that word relief. It's beautiful. Yeah. So just check in internally in like a general way overall. How are you feeling right now?
Ugh, yeah, I'm just sad.
Mm-hmm. Can you share a little bit more about that?
I guess it weighs heavy on my heart, all the things that I do struggle with and that I'm caught in perfectionism, because at the end of the day it just makes me feel like I can't be this person that I've told everyone that I am. So I'm disappointing them, but also myself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I'm trying to break out of this. And then breaking out of it, obviously people are not going to be happy because I can't be the person that they want me to be anymore.
Is that true for sure? Or is it what your brain is offering you to protect you?
I think if I told people all of what I just shared, I don't think they would be as hard as I'm telling myself they would be. I think it's my own brain saying, we need to keep us this front because it's worked so hard to get validation. Kristen, we need to keep it up.
Yeah. What do you want to say back to your brain?
Brain, I respect and honor you from trying to protect me, and I'm grateful for the job you're doing. But I need us to go in a path where it will be healthier, where I can actually be myself, and we're going to create a pathway for this where my heart and my brain will align, and where my heart can speak more about who I truly am over time. So you will see that that's truly the safest way, not this facade we're trying to keep up.
Love how you talk to your brain with the words we. We are going to do this. That's actually a major step in the opposite direction of perfectionism. We are going to do this. It's amazing. So take a moment just to feel settled inside. What does that feel like in your body? Just bring some attention to it. Yeah. When you're ready, go ahead and take a deep breath and open your eyes. Now we started in a certain area and we kind of ended up in a different area than where we began. Did that feel helpful for you?
Yeah. Yes. I still am like thinking about this sleep thing, but I'm grateful that we could go into this too.
Yeah. So I have a couple of thoughts for you as takeaways that you can participate in or not. I think you said some profound things to yourself today. So rewatching this and listening for what you said
Yeah.
could be really powerful. Um, the other thing is I'd love to invite you to practice seeing yourself in that tent at night in the woods or wherever, just totally enjoying it, just laying there going, oh my gosh, I've always wanted this. I never thought it was possible. And like here we are, just like giddy, like in your sleeping bag, like I really want to sleep, but I also really want to experience like that I'm so okay right now, and just really loving that.
Mhm.
Just that this you're cultivating something between your brain and your heart when you choose to dwell on what is good, what is lovely, what is honorable, what is right, what is just, Philippians 4:8. So like let yourself have that.
Mhm.
Um and then the third piece, this is something that I'd love for you to ask God about. Um, ask him about what the tree of knowledge of good and evil is and what it does. What is that tree? What's the other tree? What's on offer here? What's happening in this space? Because I think there's a lot of perfectionism that's tied into that operating system of I've got to figure out what's right and wrong, what's good or bad. And so I really want you to take that to the Lord if you feel like an intrigue, like if you're like, that's interesting to me, take it to him, start asking him to reveal that to you.
Mhm. Yeah. That sounds great.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. All right. Good to see you today. Keep us posted, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kristen. Awesome. Okay. Couple of things, guys. If you are new to group calls, just know that when the coach is coaching a client, like this is for you too. So if there's any part of you that's like, oh, I'm just a number, I'm out here in the audience, like actually that's not how we see it. We actually see you as somebody who gets to participate and glean from anything that's being spoken. So if there's anything that lights your heart up or anything that you resonate with, take it for you. Take it as if you were being coached yourself, okay? And if you've been with us for a while, that's probably like second nature for you now, but I just want to say it in case there's some new faces around here, that this is why we do it in a group, so that everybody gets more of everything. There's actually an abundance of love and abundance of wisdom, and it doesn't just come from my mouth. I want you gleaning from what each client says, the love that's being poured out in the chat. This is all for you guys to have. Also, Mary, it's so good to see you here. I'm so glad that worked out. And Jenny, I saw you loving on your kiddo a few minutes ago, and it just was the sweetest thing. I loved it. So, okay. Brianna, you are next. And every time I say your name out loud, I'm so worried that it's actually Brianna.
I was just gonna ask you if your name's Brie, if your full name's Brie, or
Yeah, my full name's Brianne.
okay.
So I just go by Brie. How about for you?
I go by Brie, but it's Brianna. You said it right.
Brianna. Okay, that was my I'm like, that's what I've said when I've like commented on your posts in the past, but then I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to make sure that I'm saying it right. So, okay, Brianna, it's great to see you.
Um, well, I really enjoy listening to you and Kristen. It's fun, and I can connect a lot to the performance and the perfectionism. Yeah, and so that's all resonating with me. Yeah, so I want to talk about dad pain. And that's been like a huge part of my grieving process. Just this, the last few months have just been like anytime I connect with my heart, not anytime, but a lot of the time, it's just like sad. But it's really hard for me to, like, I can connect with the sadness of kind of like what I never had, but I also don't know what I didn't have. And so it's hard for me to like fill in those gaps. Yeah, and then also like I've heard you share bits and pieces of like your journey with men, and like yeah, I can relate a lot to like running away from guys or like resenting them, and then being like, well, I have such a strong reaction towards them, and realizing through this course that it's like something going on inside of me, and it's not like the men. So I'm like, oh, if it's not the men, what is it? Yeah. So there's just, yeah, a lot. And then like, I think the overwhelming like self-awareness thing or the thing I've become self-aware of through this course is like how much the narrative of like not enough is over my life, and like how every time I express myself or do or say anything, like it's almost like this little voice of like it's not enough. And so it's kind of come out in my relationship with the Lord too. Like I feel like I could relate really well to the Lord before this course, and like now I'm becoming more connected with myself of like, oh, I've been performing a lot and I relate to him in my performance. And now that I'm like not performing, or I'm kind of like the little girl in me is like rebelling against the performance, I feel like the Lord is just trying to like fix me. Like I'm like, he wants me to read the Bible to like fix who I am, or like I can't really just relate to a God who like loves me in my mess. So that's been hard for me to connect with God too.
Yeah. That's really profound, the way you're able to put it into words. I'm really grateful that you felt safe to bring that here. Yeah, so if I'm hearing you, the thing that feels uppermost to you in your heart is that these actions that you partook in before, maybe Bible reading, whereas those helped you feel connected to God, now you feel like you don't want to touch those because it was performance, and you're looking for a different type of connection with God. Let me know if I didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's right.
Yeah. And is that part accurate of like, I'm wanting connection with God, but I want it actually to be deeper and new, not just in these standard forms that I've grown up with? Is that?
Yeah, and I think it also has to do with just how I view myself. Like, I can tell it's just me because I don't feel like I am performing as much, I feel not enough more often. And so then when I'm like reading the Bible, I'm like, I feel like it's pointing to all the like inadequacies in me. And sometimes it's like, oh, I can so relate to like feeling like David felt, or feeling like I wrote down this morning this verse in Psalms, and it was like, I'm spent by the hostility of your hand. Look away from me that I may smile again. And I was like, I can relate to that with the Lord. Like sometimes I'm just like leave me alone. Or even with myself, I just want to be left alone. And to not feel so like examined or like picked apart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is there like, what's coming to my mind is do you feel like you are a project to yourself?
Yeah.
Like that your only connection with you is when you're fixing something or you're becoming aware or you're going after something or confronting something?
Um, Sometimes I don't know. That was definitely like the overwhelming pattern of my whole life. So it's like it of course that the way I think like that comes up sometimes, but I think it is changing. So yeah.
So what comes up in your heart, honestly, when I say, okay, what's wrong um, if you take some time off from the Lord, or what's wrong if you take some time off from you and bettering yourself? What comes up when I offer that?
Like the whole not enough thing. Mm-hmm.
And if you were enough, what would that look like? Is it I'm not enough or I'm not doing enough?
Yeah, not doing enough.
I'm not doing enough. So it's like the actions.
I think so.
Yeah. And if I don't do enough Bible reading, then what?
Then I won't feel connected to the Lord.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if I don't do enough Alive and Free homework or whatever, emotional health stuff, then what?
I think I have a poverty mentality too. So like often it comes up like I won't be taken care of, or like I better be like taking advantage of the course, which is true. Like it's good to, I think, invest, but then also like a lot of the times it's um like I'm so behind in school right now, and so I'm like working on just catching up and have kind of taken a break from the course. But it's like, oh, I really let myself just like forget about other things in my life, kind of out of a poverty mentality of like the course is going to end soon. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. What is since you brought up dad stuff earlier, what was the context for connection with your dad? Like when you got attention, when you got love, when you got time with him, what was the context for all that? Like what was going on when you actually got connection?
I don't think I ever did really get connection. Um, if I'm honest with how I feel, like I think realizing the past few days, like it was all really shallow. And like anytime I felt connected, it was like, I'll take that little bit, but it's really nothing. And so, for instance, like one time he was building something in our garage, and I like just sat in the garage and like gave him tools or like threw stuff away for him for like a few hours, and we didn't talk at all or like say anything. And then the next day he like gave me a candy bar for like sitting in the garage with him, and I was like so happy just from like that little thing. And then now looking back, I'm like, oh, I deserved like so much more than that, like actual connection than just like him giving me things. And that's still how he tries to connect with me is through giving me stuff. And at this point I'm like so done with that.
Yeah, it sounds really painful. So it's like connection is a transaction,
Yeah.
rather than like a delight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there any relationship, present or past, where you felt like connection was just fun?
Yeah, my brother growing up was super sweet to me. He was kind of like my dad, but he wasn't like old enough. So he was like 7 years older, and he, yeah, he would just like always include me in everything and like take me to play basketball and like go to my games. And he was just so sweet. Like even when I didn't do anything right, he was so proud of me. It was so sweet. So that was delightful for sure.
Come close into the camera. I want to tell you something. You just said it meant the most to you when he was with you, when you didn't even do anything.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what it might be like to be with God when you don't have to do anything?
Hardly.
Okay. I love the honesty, because we can't deal with anything but honesty, right? So you're doing good. And it's bringing up some tears, which are beautiful and sacred to me. So thank you for letting me see them. It sounds like the message that you want with yourself is, can I be with me when I'm not doing anything? Does God want to be with me when I'm not providing any service? Does Dad want to be with me just because I exist? Here's the really tricky part. We don't actually get to discover if that's true unless we sit. Unless we sit still. I heard it put this way the other day, and it totally captured my heart. Somebody asked this guy, how do you know you're actually the beloved of God? How do you know you're the beloved? Like, I know it up here, but like to like know I'm the beloved. And he said, to be beloved is to be the object of one's affection. So with God, all you can do is sit there and watch yourself be loved. That's how our heart makes the connection with it. So there is some sort of pause involved. Maybe you're taking a walk, maybe you're still physically moving, but there's some kind of, I'm going to stop and listen. I'm going to stop and pause. Maybe it's close my eyes. Maybe it's let go of a commitment I have in life. Maybe it's, I'm going to take Saturday mornings. It could look a million different ways. And I don't want to put anything on you that you feel like you have to do it this way, because that your performance is going to have a heyday with that. We're not performing this, but we're looking for what is figuratively, what's a way where I can sit and actually notice that I'm being loved without producing anything. What's coming up for you as I say that?
I think like all the shoulds, like you said, like thinking about because I have a really flexible schedule, so I can pretty much do what I want, but that also is scary to me because it's like, oh, like I could be like just working on homework, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I need to work and like go work. And so I feel like I just have a poverty mentality as far as like God providing for me, and knowing what to do and being like, oh, these are my choices, but like also, I don't know, I just feel like God's not going to provide for me, basically, in that.
No. Here's the thing, baby girl. I feel like there's this really mature part of you who's like, okay, I see it. It's poverty mentality. I got it. Like, I got it. Like, there it is. There it is. See, like, I'm not hiding it. Like, there it is. And I totally relate to you on this. Okay, we've labeled it. Awesome. Here's the thing. That label is not helping you actually walk into abundance. So it's okay to acknowledge there's some poverty, or there's some lack, or like, I don't actually believe that God's going to come through with me, for me, in multiple areas. So what is your heart actually needing underneath it? It's one thing to label it, but now let's look at, like, what's your heart crying out for underneath of that? I don't know if he's going to be there for me.
Yeah, I think like believing that I'm worth more than doing all the things, I think, yeah, is something I can grasp. Does that make sense?
When was the last time, and it's okay if you're like, I don't have a last time, that's totally okay, but when was the last time where you felt like it was good to be alive?
Whoa, that's a good question.
It's okay.
For like a solid season that I felt that in was like right when COVID hit, and I just did like nothing and I didn't have to do anything. Yeah.
That was a sweet time for me too, and I was thinking of it today because the light in my house was exactly the same as that time last year, and I was thinking about, like, I know that was a hard time for many people, but it was dear to me. So I want you to close your eyes real quick, and I want you to remember that. Every sound, smell, sight that's coming to you of that time where you're like, it's just good to be alive. It's just good to be here. I'm so grateful that everything has stopped. There's no shoulds happening externally right now. That's the space where you get to be the beloved, okay? It's not the only space, but that's your access point moving forward.
Yeah.
2 minutes. 2 minutes first thing when you wake up in the morning. Does it feel like you can picture that again?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
The rest of your day, don't beat yourself up. If no matter what happens, but just take that baby step of, I'm just gonna remember. It felt really good to be still internally. I want to hear from you what's happening inside of you right now, because I know there were a couple different things that this pain pulled up, and my heart is so for you in all of them. So I want to touch base and see like, where's your skepticism meter? Are you like, this sounds nice, but or are you like, okay, no, this actually feels like something I could try? Like, where are you at?
It's like scary, I think. And then also it's like that time when I was happy to be alive, it was like I had nothing I needed to do. And I still made up things I should do. But I was like happy with the things I like made up to do. And it sounds like a good practice, but I feel like I still do it out of performance.
Yeah.
Like, let me like be still so I can like not be anxious the rest of the day and like perform better, you know?
Totally.
So I don't know. It's just scary to me and like doesn't feel like I'm fixing things.
Totally. Yeah. Okay. I want to try something with you if it's okay. I want to actually take a moment to pray through this because I so relate to you, like so relate to you on this. Like I can turn all matter of wonderful things in life into performing. And so I want to take a moment to clear my thoughts. So let's just be quiet for a moment. I'm going to listen and kind of sort through some of my experience with Holy Spirit. You just listen, and you don't have to have anything by the time we finish this moment. But in case something pops up, I just want you to make mental note of it. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
Okay, and everybody, you can join in this if you want. Just praying in your own heart, or if you want to just keep Brianna in mind, and if you feel something on your heart that you want to share, I'm going to ask you to private message it to me, and share it that way, and I can read them back to her. Okay, so we're just going to take a moment. Okay, just don't worry about how long it is. I'm just going to get still. You just get still, and we'll just see. Okay, nothing is needed from you. You don't have to give me any type of answer. Okay. Yeah. So Brianna, I just want to check in with you. If there's anything you sensed or felt in that moment.
Yeah, I think I just mostly remembered being a little girl and like all the times I just like poured out my heart or would just like talk and like not stop talking to people that I felt safe with. And yeah, and just like how fun it was for me to be around people who just like enjoyed being with me and didn't have an agenda. I think there's a part of me that's like lost that, and like feels like ever since I like hit a certain age, like I'm just not allowed to do that anymore. And I feel like unsafe with a lot of people. But yeah.
How do you feel about that little girl?
like I love her. Yeah.
I wonder if, use the word agenda, like being with people who had no agenda for you, and just the freedom of that. And that's so beautiful. And I was thinking, oh man, like people can have agendas for us, what we mean to them or what we need to do for them. But we can also have agendas for ourselves. And that can kind of stifle the little girl who's like, hey, I'm here to be delighted in. What's going on? Right? Yeah. Yeah, there's some, I'll read to you some of the things that people shared that were specifically for you that they felt. I'll share those at the end, but I really think you're doing it. Like you're in it. Like you're in the process of going, oh man, this is what my heart's really been wanting. And I've been going at it with a checklist, a to-do list. And it's not actually giving me what I'm wanting. Go ahead.
I'm just breathing. Yeah.
So the fact that you love that little girl who knows that, hey, I'm just here to be with you and enjoy and be enjoyed. Like, I think the pain that you're feeling, the grief that you're feeling, it feels like really clean pain from my perspective. It feels like, yeah, this is the part that's really sad because, man,
Yeah.
painful that you've had to perform to get love or to keep love or to get attention from dad, and that it was this, I'll do this and you'll do this thing instead of, hey, we just show up and enjoy each other. I when I was quiet, nothing was coming to me until I connected with, oh, I really want to have an answer for you. I really want to have something, right? I want to perform. I want to produce something for you that fixes everything and that is the golden key to unlocking what you want, and that's when I kind of started laughing. I'm like, oh man, like here it is, right? Like we're all we've been trained to do instead of be. And it was actually, I started laughing because I felt like the Lord was like, no, it's the pause itself that is meaningful here. So I just want to encourage you. I understand that you're like, yeah, but I'm going to turn that into a doing thing, like I understand that. I so hear you. I so relate to it, but I just want to encourage you to play with the idea. Play with the idea of what does it look like to take a pause? What does it look like to take a spontaneous pause? Work is flexible. Shoot, I'm going for a drive. What does that look like? What does it look like to build in a rhythm of a pause? What does it look like to stop and check in with yourself and I don't actually know what I'm feeling. Okay, moving on. Like what does that look like for you personally to start practicing that? What do you think? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's good. Super good.
And noticing what comes up for you when you're like, I will employ the pause, I will do it correctly,
Yeah, totally. Yeah. No, I think it's not that hard to not have an agenda. Like it's a possibility for sure.
Okay, cool. That's all that has to be.
Yeah, it's
Possibility, and then we just participate with possibility.
good.
That's what living in the present is.
Mm-hmm.
So there were some sweet things that people messaged. Yeah, Jenny, that was really sweet that you shared with your vision for you. I love that. Jenny, Alive and Free Jenny, said that she heard look for the holes. Look for the holes. Yeah, that's really, oh, hang on. Here it is. Look for the holes. I see holes beginning to pierce in the banner of I'm not enough flying above your life. Like holes in a piece of Swiss cheese, performance and perfectionism is a flawed protector, an incomplete piece of the sandwich, kind of gross on its own. I prayed for eyes to see the breakdown of that old teacher performance and that old friend perfectionism, and that there's a loosening of that hold. A clenched fist loosening, and the sand it's holding falling away. Feeling freedom in the shredding of a banner, feeling freedom in the sand flying out of the fist. Feeling satisfied to take a bit of the full sandwich with a variety of ingredients. And then she said, haha, so many metaphors, but eyes to see the falling away.
Thank you. Love that.
And Karina shared, I hear the Lord say, daughter, your presence is enough. I feel deep tenderness, delight, and compassion for you. You simply breathing brings me the greatest joy. I'll meet you in your surrender, sweet daughter. Which is so sweet because I think of, we talk a lot about doing breath work in this course, and like, yeah, just hearing you simply breathing brings me joy. Like doing something that comes naturally to you that you have to do, but you're actually not in charge of, it just happens naturally. I think that's really beautiful. Thanks,
Yeah,
Karina.
thank you.
Maisha said, God says there's nothing you can or can't do that will change my love for you. So sweet. And then I'll just read one more. Rev said, dear sweet Brianna, I heard your deep grief and longing for connection with your dad and feeling like you have to perform to earn that love and connection. Just now in this call, you didn't do anything. You were just yourself and were open. I was honored and delighted to get to see you and hear your heart. You are so worth the time and worth being heard just for who you are. You're an amazing, beautiful person. Thank you for sharing you with us. Just really sweet.
Thank you.
Yes, I would love to hear what unfolds from this. And it doesn't have to be anything, but I would love, if you feel safe to keep sharing the journey inside the Facebook group. I would so love to hear about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. It's great to see you today.
Yeah, you too.
Right. Thanks, guys. That was really fun to connect with everybody on that. Okay, we have the LG Stylo next. I love that. Is it Kathy? Is it Kathy?
Yeah, sorry.
So fun. No, I feel like it's like your name.
Can you hear me? I had to log out and back in so that wouldn't appear. I'm not sure how that.
Amazing. No, I love it. I think it's just so fun.
um, anyway, I just
Yes.
Stylo. Yes, Stylo is styling. Not sure which question to ask. I have two that are pretty prevalent.
Okay.
You can hear me. Okay, good. You can hear me. Okay. One, I'm kind of embarrassed to share, but I know that being vulnerable breaks shame. So I don't know. The other, I'm not embarrassed about. So I'm going to go with the one that I'm embarrassed about to break shame. How about that?
Okay.
I've been struggling with I want to just call it a spade, like a pain pill addiction. It comes and it goes, and I noticed, lately, I've been struggling with it. And I asked, my heart, like, what there's a void obviously that I'm trying to fill. That happened with my mom, and I'm like, great, I'm turning into my mom. Um, but it's I can't even look at the camera because I'm so ashamed, but it fills the void of connection and acceptance. Like sometimes I could feel like I could be more myself and loving and like I used to be. Um, like I don't know if there's just a chemical that, but so there's that. That's what I'm struggling with.
Yeah. Yeah. So hear you. You're so brave.
I don't know.
So brave. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I hear you. So hear you.
but
How are
I'm
you?
trying to love myself. You know, like I know Spencer.
Go ahead.
Uh,
Go ahead.
what's that? Oh, I know. Sammy was like, with Sammy and Spencer, I'm trying to love myself when in the middle of that. I know everybody has different addictions, but love myself like so when her head was over the toilet, or I'm trying to love myself when I'm active in that addiction to, you know, because I know eventually once I'm reach that, you know, I don't know, healthy self-love or I just won't have that desire anymore, you know, to fill that void. So I'm trying to, because shame's a horrible teacher, I know that. So like I said, the root of it is connection and acceptance. So
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I'm so proud of you.
thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. So proud of you. I want to pause here just to bring awareness to it. How are you feeling now that you shared this with us?
Um, a mix of um, shame and relief.
Yeah.
Like I know that's a huge step, and then I do feel brave.
Yeah.
But I'm like, what are they thinking about me? You know. So
You can check out the comments if you want to see what people are thinking about you. There's some really great comments. Yeah. Yeah, you're not alone here. Um
did anybody ever share that before?
yeah, I have heard this before for sure. And you're right,
Yeah.
like there are multiple types of substance addictions. And yeah, for me, like I've turned to food a lot, right? To change a chemical that's happening, right, in my brain. So
Yeah.
it's different. But you're right, it does come back to connection for sure. Yeah. 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 So proud of you. So proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely a safe place to share, but I don't know. I just don't want to be ashamed of it.
Yeah, totally. Totally. Would you be willing to share with us what shame has been telling you about yourself?
Um, that if people knew that about you, they wouldn't accept you. They would judge you for it. Um, rejection comes to mind, especially with men. Like, um, if so and so knew that about you, they wouldn't want to date you. Or
Mhm.
um, yeah, that's what. Um, it's a horrible teacher.
Yeah.
Um, that I'm not good enough, or there's something wrong with me.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
So it's just, I guess, self-hatred. You know, shame teaches teaches me to not love myself, and that it's not okay to be where I'm at in this process. That I feel like I wanted to be fast forwarded and just there's a deficit obviously in my heart, and that's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling it with.
Mhm.
uh,
Mhm. I know you've walked through some memory of being a child and the mom pain.
Yeah.
I know you've been really tender for you, and you've let us see you in that space, which is so precious. Yeah, yeah, it matters. It matters. Yeah,
She's not been the greatest. My mom's not been the greatest teacher, that's for
yeah.
sure.
Is there anybody in your life that has felt like you've mentioned, like Shane was not a good teacher, mom was not a good teacher, but is there anybody in your life that has been a helpful guide or a helpful teacher?
Um, yeah. Um, yes.
Yeah.
Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah.
Uh, um, like I know God has put mother figures in my life, to on purpose, and one of them is Donna, um, Donna and Sandy, two mother figures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to hear as much as you feel comfortable, but I'd love to hear about them and like what is it about them that feels so good and helpful?
Yeah. Sandy just is just a beautiful soul. She's always loved me unconditionally. Um, she just lights up the room wherever she goes. And pretty much that's my desire, is just to be not to be me, but to be like her. Just her heart is so full, and she's able to radiate and project that onto others. And um, she's yeah. It's like she jumped out of the Bible onto earth. She's just so sweet like that. And Donna was my ex-boyfriend's mom, and she again filled that. She um, she just loved me, when I guess I don't know specifically. Yeah, she's always been there and loved me like unconditionally. I knew I could go to her and just talk to her, just about anything, and I could always just stop by and pop by their house and show up even unannounced, and they were so welcoming and with open arms.
Mm. Yeah, man. I can imagine how that would feel really good. I
Mm.
I I jotted some notes of what you were sharing because these things matter to your heart. They're things that your heart values. And I just love to speak them back over you, if that's okay.
Yeah.
And while I do that, would it feel okay to picture both Donna and Sandy just coming to you?
Yeah.
So I'd actually love for you to imagine the very room that you're sitting in.
Okay.
This is something that anybody can join into as well. It's a really helpful practice with your imagination if you feel like your imagination is not something you feel comfortable engaging with. Just picturing yourself in the actual room you're in. Okay, so Kathy, just see yourself
Okay.
in bed. Just see the windows in the room.
See the what now?
The windows that
I
are in.
didn't hear you. See the. Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and you can do this in your imagination. Yeah, just closing your eyes, just picturing
Yeah.
yourself in the room you're in. Yeah, see where the windows are, and you're noticing the color of paint on the walls, and that it's the middle of the day. And I just want you to see in your imagination that you hear this little knock on your door, and it opens, and you see Donna and Sandy peek their heads in. I want to know if they can come be with you in this moment. Do you want them to come in?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And how do you want them to be with you? Do you want their hands on your shoulders? Do you want them sitting next to you? What would be supportive for you?
Sitting next to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I want you to see them sitting on either side of you. Yeah. Yeah. And Donna's here and she's just full of light. She's full of light. Yeah. Yeah. She's just very alive. And you just are so drawn to that. Yeah. It's like an invitation into life when she's in the room. Yeah. And I just want you to see her put her hand on your back and acknowledge that she's so with you in this. She loves you and she's not leaving. Yeah. 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 And I want you to notice Donna's presence next to you on the other side. And you just feel how with you she is. There's this unconditional love just emanating from her. Yeah. Yeah. You're just letting your heart receive that from her. And you feel so welcome in her presence. Welcome in any state. Yeah. I want you to just focus on seeing yourself held right here, right now, with these tears, with these feelings. Yep. Yeah. And I just want you to listen with the ears of your heart and listen to see if Donna or Sandy have anything to say to you in this moment.
Um, you are always worthy of love and um, uh, um, um, I love you. And I'm here for you. Mm. You're not defined by this addiction. I don't even like using that word, addiction. But it's just a heart deficit. It's like I know it in my head, but I'm trying to get it down in my heart.
Mhm.
Mhm. Just keep connecting to love. What I'm hearing.
Mm.
Mm. This is what Jesus died on the cross for, is so we don't for shame and and just to remember to nail it to the cross where it belongs. Just keep pouring love into that deficit. It's gonna be okay. I just have a huge thing with judgment in my family, I guess, too. It's like I feel like you guys are gonna judge me, not you, anybody specifically, but just in general. They're always picking on me.
Kathy, it cut out a little bit, so I want to make sure I understand. You said that you feel like the group is going to judge you because of
Oh no. No, I just was like, um, judgment is a big thing in my family. I've always been, they're just very judgy. Um, and um, I don't feel like I was saying I don't feel like anybody in this group is gonna judge me. Or, I wonder. I don't feel like I still feel it's a safe place, but in the back of my mind, I hope nobody will judge me like my family does. Or, um, yeah.
Yeah, I hear you on that. Right.
It's like for some reason, it's like that's the, just I don't know, a horrible addiction or something versus like binge eating or versus any other addiction for some reason. It just feels like it's like, I don't know.
More of a stigma to it.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to me.
What'd you say?
No, I said thank you for listening to me.
Absolutely, honey.
I was so ashamed.
Yeah. 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 I'm so sorry this has felt so scary.
Yeah.
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 I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
I'm sorry that it didn't feel safe to like move towards people in this. Sorry that it had to become something that you had to hide so that you'd be,
Right.
yeah, that's a really scary place to be. And I hear your little girl in that. She's trying so hard to be good so that she can have love.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. He just nailed it with that.
The beautiful thing about this, and Jenny just wrote some comments in the chat too that you can check out, but she said we were designed to reach for love, and that's like so profound to me in this moment with you, because there's like this purity, this goodness, design in you that's like, I was made for connection and I didn't get it. And there's like demand of like, I was made for this and I didn't get it. And
Don't
like
cry.
that's what I'm connecting with with you in this moment is
Yeah.
the a little girl who's distraught because she didn't get what she was actually created for, and that is so painful, honey. And it's not, the story doesn't stop there. Your life is not about years and years and years of not getting connection. But this piece right here, this feeling piece, is really important so that you can acknowledge that it's actually a really good desire inside of you that's making itself known. Really important. The addiction is what was on offer to you at the time, whenever it started. That was what was on offer. It was the best decision you knew how to make at the time. And I understand that there may be process to let go of a substance and reach for love. I understand that. But in this moment, I want to highlight that right now, Kathy Wensloff, you are lovable. And that has never changed. You are lovable right now. Right now.
I received that. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Like, who, I don't want to acknowledge it. I just want to get it out. Like, who would want me? I'm flawed, but I know that's the enemy. And I know it's so hard to. I don't know why I do that to myself. That's not nice.
Mm. Even that was something you picked up because it made sense at the time. Our protectors actually serve us. We don't pick up substances, we don't pick up protective mechanisms because we're stupid. Absolutely not. We pick them up because they are the best thing that we can within our grasp at the time. And again, just earlier when we're talking about, oh, I'm outgrowing performance, I'm outgrowing perfectionism, you're outgrowing this.
Right.
That's why things feel disjointed. That's why it felt like I don't want to share this, but I do, right? Because there's something in you, that river of life is pushing that up and out so that you can actually receive the love you've always wanted. That's why vulnerability breaks shame. So I really want to encourage you to grab onto this. That this right now, this moment right now, is part of the process. It will not always be like this. Does that feel like something you can grab onto? It's okay if the answer does.
Oh, definitely, yes.
Okay.
I hope I didn't break up. Yeah, this moment won't last forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
The moment, yeah, I just want to make sure I write that down. Won't last forever. Thank God. Yeah.
You know how I know? I actually have evidence. You want to know what evidence I have? It's not even my evidence, it's your evidence. Are you ready?
Yes.
You posted this morning about a win you had with your sister.
Yeah.
It has not always been like that with your sister. But there's something that was different in that recent exchange.
Yes.
Yes. So I'm not making stuff up here. You told me that was true.
Yeah, I was practicing the communication and confrontation. I actually had the sheet in my hand to pronounce it. I was
Good.
like, yeah. So, but
Absolutely. So this moment matters, and it's not going to feel like this forever. Can I bless your body?
Yeah, I need to take a deep breath.
Yeah. Can I take
Yes.
to bless your body? Okay. And anybody who wants to partake of this, feel free, and also take it as an invitation that you can do this for yourself at any time. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to speak some things over you, Kathy. Yeah. And first, I just want to speak to your body. Yeah. In Kathy's body, I want you to feel so safe. I want you to feel so safe to receive love and blessing right now. In Kathy's body, I just want you to know that you're the gatekeeper. So I'm not forcing this love or this blessing on you. You are powerful to receive this or not, okay? You don't have to receive this. I'd love to speak some things over you. And what you can receive, I'd love for you to grab hold of. So Kathy's head, I bless you to know the Father. Yeah. Yeah. Kathy's shoulders, I just give you permission to unwind. Yeah. Yeah. I give you permission to take that relief whenever you need it. Kathy's lungs, I just give you permission to take full deep breaths, as much as you need, as often as you want. Yeah. 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 In Kathy's gut, I give you permission to speak to her. And I bless your gut, Kathy, that you would actually develop relationship with your intuition, that you can trust yourself. Yeah. Yeah. And I bless your hands to receive more love, more joy, more peace. That those things are your birthright, they're intrinsic to you, that they live on the inside, and you're learning how to connect with them. Yeah. And I just bless your legs with ease and with rest. I give you permission to kick up your legs and take pauses during the day. Yeah. And I just bless your feet, Kathy. These places where you really ground in and you feel settled and strong for the rest of your being. Just bless that space in you. And I thank you, Kathy's nervous system, for protecting her. And I thank you for healing. I thank you that Kathy starts to acknowledge how she's been in a healing process already, that her whole body is coming into alignment with love. I thank you for her sleep. Thank you, Kathy's body, for just giving and receiving the healing that comes in sleep. I thank you for opportunity to just nourish herself with beautiful food, beautiful music, beautiful sights, beautiful smells, beautiful sounds. God, I thank you that we get to bless ourselves and each other. Thank you for our bodies. Thank you for the power and the wisdom that they hold. Yeah, in Jesus' name who came in a body. It's really important that he came in a body. He blessed all of humanity by coming in a body. So in Jesus' name, amen. All right, sweet Kathy, keep us posted, okay? Okay. All right. All right, guys. If that was impactful for you, I would love to hear in the comments. What part of that did your heart latch onto? And also if you're like, nope, that was actually really challenging for me to connect to, I want to hear that too. So I'm just going to pause a moment. If any of you want to share in the chat. And yeah, I just want to thank you guys for the love that you're pouring out in the chat. I think that's a really sweet part of the community we have here. So at any time, if there's something that resonates with you, you can let us know there. If there's an aspect of a person who's being coached that just really impacts you, you can let us know in the chat. That can be a really powerful thing. Okay. Yeah, Shoshana, yep, God wants to bless my body. There's no need for shame. Maisha, it was nice to focus on each part and allow it to receive. I love that. I love that. Brittany Ann, it was impactful. That's awesome. Anna, impactful to love my body. I've been sick and hating my body because of it and feeling so much more connected after loving on it. Girl, I so hear you. So hear you. I love that you made that connection. Martha, yeah, when Kathy talked about using her new skills to communicate with a family member and received a breakthrough by doing such. Awesome, awesome. That's so great. I love that your heart gleaned onto that. Beautiful. Okay, Shabana, you are next on the list. We have 12-ish minutes before we wrap up. So I want to check in with you before we begin. Does that feel like something you want to dive into with that amount of time?
Yeah, I can do 10 minutes. That's fine. I don't have like a really involved question, so
Cool.
yeah, that'll be good. Yeah, so I just had a question about like having the right perspective about time and like the future. So my birthday is coming up in a few days. I'm gonna be 30. And I'm just like not like I fluctuate from being excited and like being and reflecting on like the last decade and being really depressed about it. And I'm like, what am I doing with my life? I haven't accomplished anything. So it's just like, and it's kind of more of a milestone birthday. So it's just like, I don't know, bringing up all this stuff. But and then I think also just anxiety about the future because I'm like, oh man, what if I make the same mistakes? Or just doesn't go the way that I'm expecting it to, because like my 20s were not what I expected. And so I think I just need to manage expectations or something. And I make a lot of plans and then it doesn't go that way. So then I get depressed and anxious. I don't know, and like maybe I just feel like disillusionment, with life or disconnected from hope. But yeah, it's just like I don't really know exactly what I'm feeling, but it's like anxiety and depression, and I don't know. Like, what if my 30s suck? Like, I don't know, because like I'm still single and I'm not married and I'm not in like the career that like I was hoping I'd be in and stuff. So it's just kind of like, well, what am I doing with myself? I don't know. It's like it's all coming to a head now that I'm like gonna be 30. So
Totally.
yeah.
Who can relate to this? Anybody? Anybody? Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to take your time. I just want you to know I turned 35 in a month, and I've been waking up the last few months with, oh my gosh, right? So
Yeah.
even though in my waking day, like I don't dwell on that stuff, but first thing in the morning, man, that number is in front of my head and what it means, right? So,
Yeah.
so I just say that to just, okay, here we are. And I think it's fascinating that you bring up these elements of time and hope and expectation.
Yeah.
And I actually, this sounds, I want to ask you your question back to you, but I mean it from like sincerity. Okay. I actually want to go here with you, and we can keep it light. What if your 30s suck? Like, look me in the eyes, and I want to know, what if your 30s suck?
I guess that would just mean that I'm a disappointment and failure,
Bingo.
and like I won't be happy.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to get at. That was, thank you. That I'm a disappointment,
Okay. Yeah.
a failure. Is there anything
That's
else?
what I felt like for most of my 20s. Like the
Okay.
last decade, that's what I felt like. It was just like constant failure after the other, and I was just like, oh no, what if I'm just gonna like repeat this
Okay.
into my 30s, and like I can't make my dreams or vision for my life happen for myself, because I wasn't able to do it in my 20s. And now I'm like, oh man, the clock's ticking, like time's running out. Like my body's changing, like I'm not as physically fit as it used to be. Like I'm surprised that 10 years made a big difference, but it did. And I don't know, like I went into my 20s with all these plans, and I'm leaving it like with not many of them fulfilled. So yeah.
Yes. Do you have older people in your life that are like trustworthy, that you have deep conversations with?
Yeah, I do.
Okay,
Mhm.
so just some side homework. If this ever feels helpful, take this to them and ask specifically, I'm 29 turning 30, you may be 59 turning 60 or whatever. I really need you to hear me right here and not just tell me you have so much time just because I'm younger than you. I need you to actually hear me, because this is something I felt 10 years ago and I've been feeling consistently. So I need you to hear me. So I want you to request space with some people who are older than you.
Okay.
And I specifically suggest older than you because I have experienced older people in my life. The really honest ones that I believe and want to hang out with are the ones who say, I don't actually have it together at 72, and I'm like, shoot, also that's helpful, So I want your soul to get some experience with like, okay, like they're further down the road and they're feeling this way too. But the I'm a disappointment, I'm a failure piece. Sorry, Jenny. I love you, Jenny. Sorry, Shabana. I think that's a really, really key piece, a really key place for you to hang out in. And these elements of time, these elements of hope, these elements of I haven't actually achieved things on my goal list, all of those are here, but the I'm a disappointment thing is feels central to me. And these things out here, your birthday, all of that exacerbates it. But like, I love your awareness that you're like, actually, I felt this way in my 20s too. That's really powerful that you're aware of that. So, have you been able to dive into where that I'm a disappointment thing first became an option to you?
I feel like it was in high school, like when I was a teenager. I don't know, like school was hard, like high school was hard for me academically and socially. And so I don't know, I just felt like I was trying and then my efforts like wouldn't work and I would still like fail or just not do well. So, and that was probably my freshman year, honestly. And like I was trying to like try something new because I was like, it's high school and try something new. And then like it was marching band and I like failed. Like I was not good at it, but whatever. But I think I internalized that disappointment like for since then, honestly. Or just like with my parents too, you know, they're just very like perfectionistic and like they have a lot of expectations.
Yeah.
And stuff. And like I just feel like that's what they're thinking about me. So
Have you ever had the conversation with your parents of, hey, this is how I think you feel about me? Is that how you feel about me?
no, I haven't.
When I say that, does your skin crawl, or does it feel like, oh, I might want to try that?
I get nervous.
Get nervous.
Yeah.
Totally. And I'm not saying you should or have to or anything like that. Just kind of exploring here. Because the high school example I think is really significant, and I think it'd be cool if you dove into that a little bit more. My guess is, just based on experience in our course, is it probably started younger, and mom and dad are the ones who first teach us about life, who first display God, right? And it's a conundrum, because if any of you are parents out there, you know that you want to do it so well, right? And so right, there's a lot that's displayed to us in that relationship. So I'm trying to think. I know I would love to dive into this more with you, but for just the sake of the capacity of this call, these statements of I'm a disappointment, I'm a failure, and then you also said my efforts aren't enough. Like, me just working hard isn't enough to actually produce the result that I'm wanting. I think that would be really interesting to journal about, encounter God with. There's something in you that started to believe, oh, even me working hard doesn't actually produce what I want. And it sounds like you've continued to work harder and harder and harder, but there's this belief that's like, I can't have what I want because working hard isn't even worth it. Does any of that resonate, or is it off? Let me know.
No, definitely. Yeah. I really feel that for sure. Yeah.
It would be because of time. I really want to encourage you to keep going in this, even if that means posting a video in the Facebook group, and maybe me or one of the other support coaches can like keep coaching you through it inside the love and the safety of the community, because I think this is really significant, and because so many of us can relate to it. And we want to blame time, which our culture has taught us what time means. And that's one part of it, but there's also this underlying, like, no, it's actually the time thing that's pressing and poking on this. I'm a disappointment, and I can't actually have my dreams, or, whatever unfolds for you from there. Does that feel like an okay stopping place right there for us? I don't want to leave you hanging. That's not my intention at all.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah. That's good.
So if you do some journaling on that, a side piece of this, and I do think the disappointment piece is more important, but a side piece for you and anybody else that latches onto this is, what is your relationship with time? Like, if you were to envision time as a person, what does that person look like? And letting that inform you of like how you see time. And if you like what you see, cool. If you don't like what you see, maybe bring a little attention to what is time? What did God actually create it for? How does it serve me? How do I work with time?
Okay. Yeah. No, I love that. That's really good.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Such a pleasure to interact with you, as always.
Thank you. Thank you, Brie. Short and sweet.
Awesome. All right, guys. So sweet to be with you today. Yeah, I love that. There's so many fun comments. Yes, everybody's having birthdays this year. Awesome. Couple of things. If there was something you got out of today and you're like, wait, I want to keep having this conversation with myself, with the Lord, with the community, please like post in the Facebook group. Like, this is what it's for. It's to continue conversation. We love that. You can tag me in it if you specifically would like me to see it. That's great too, because sometimes the algorithm, I don't see everything. So there's that. If there's ever something that you really feel passionate about that you want to post a business review for us on, like, man, this is the breakthrough I got, this is the takeaways I got. If that is ever something you want to do, reach out, let us know. We can point you in that direction. And also, we have a 1-hour breakout right after this call. We're just going to leave the Zoom room open if you guys want to connect with each other, keep processing, chat. Jenny, did you have anything else to share? Okay, awesome. All right, so fun to be with you guys. Great to see your faces, and yeah, just lots of love to you. I feel really, really, really so much love for you. So just let your heart take that in, and I will see you guys around the group. Okay. All right. Bye, guys.